What is up, guys? Welcome to Comic Confidential, the weekly podcast where we bring you all the week's comic-related news and break down all the top moments from all those kick-ass TV shows. I'm your host, Cade, and alongside me today is Troy.
What's up?
Not much.
Yeah?
Yeah. Why are you speaking like sideways into your mic? Are you like being gangster?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you are pretty gangster.
I've just, this is my new thing now.
Is
I
it?
just get on a really awkward angle and I just lean into the microphone instead of setting myself up right in front of it.
That seems like so logical.
Doesn't it? We are Amy-less today.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, me neither.
She's been throwing shade on me all week.
Has she?
Yeah, man, just hating.
Well, for what? What have you done?
I don't know, man.
Is it because we have pushed Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them back a week?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went into Masters, and that's like a Home Depot for those out of the country.
Yeah.
And she was saying she just like absolutely shunned me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, well, F you, Amy.
F you, pal.
Yeah. Gave her the finger and walked away.
Yeah, but I'd say it's that because she was very excited for that. We have decided to push it back a week purely for two reasons, I guess. And one of the reasons is that we would have given you guys about 3 days to go out and see it. And we want to give you guys because it's a worldwide release. So we want to give you guys a little bit more time to actually watch the movie before you listen to us spoil the shit out of it.
Yeah, because we just can't do those non-spoiler talks. That's not my life.
Yeah, it's not my life either. I am not about that life. And the second reason is because we've been hit with just a ton of like really, really good news that we just wanted to focus on mostly. So that's what we're going to do instead.
Yeah, and not at all because of the fact that we have to build up the courage to go see this movie.
Yeah, also because I actually genuinely have no idea about any of the things that are in it. Apparently, the main guy's name is Newt. There you go. That's
Really?
what I know.
Are you going to cram the Harry Potter movies in before you go see this?
I'm going to cram the books in. I'm going to read all 6 books, 7 books.
7 books?
8 books, 80 books. I'm going to read all 80 books and Fantastic Beasts, Where to Find Them by next week.
And all the online fan fiction?
Yes, of course.
You got to be up to date, right?
Yeah, exactly. Look, no, it's not that I've seen all the movies. It's not that I have absolutely no idea, but,
You don't care.
It's not that I don't care.
Wow, I didn't
just
realize.
more that
I didn't realize you were wizard racist.
Well, this is awkward.
Oh my goodness.
Anti-wizard.
Anti-wizard. Wow. I'm speechless.
Let's move on.
I've got some weird news.
Some weird news.
We're getting a reboot that no one asked for, I feel.
Well, that's a lot of reboots. Reboots that no one actually asked for. But
Except for Ghostbusters. That was a reboot of the century. And it was so well received.
cue internet hate.
Yeah. I know, but the Green Hornet is getting another reboot.
Yeah. Just so you actually heard, we didn't say Green Lantern. We said Green Hornet.
Yeah.
And a lot of you might be like, what's a Green Hornet?
It was the most mediocre movie, I want to say, of 2011.
Yeah. Look, it was okay. The Seth Rogen-led vehicle. Yeah, I just like you said it before. I mean, this is I don't know if anyone actually asked for this. I've never been a fan really of the Green Hornet.
No.
Not the TV series in the 70s, obviously, or anything like that. But yeah, man. I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess. But
Meh.
Keep churning out those reboots that no one actually gives a shit about, though, guys, because we love it.
You know what? It could be like a dark horse of something that's just absolutely bloody awesome.
Exactly. You never know. But I think that's kind of what they wanted to do with the Green Hornet in 2011. I think they really wanted to kick off a new franchise, and it just didn't take.
Probably casting was the main fault to that.
Yeah.
Because, Seth
Rogen.
And that's probably when like Pineapple Express came out, and it was that huge stoner movie scene back then.
I think it was a little bit later, and I think, let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was around the time where Seth Rogen dropped a lot of weight, and I think there might have been a thought. It's like, oh hey, can we turn this guy into like a viable action star? And you sort of see the movie and you're like, no, Seth Rogen is a lovable tubby stoner.
Yeah.
Can we just keep him at that? And that's pretty much what he's gone back to since then. So
stay tubby,
smoke weed every day, I guess.
Yes.
If you're Seth Rogen. Anyway, something we can get excited about though. They finally released the trailer for the Justice League Dark. which, well,
damn.
Got me excited, that's for sure.
My God, if you're excited, you should feel these nipples.
Yeah.
Hard, eh?
Just for those playing at home, I did not actually feel his nipples, I swear.
He's lying.
Anyway, so Justice League Dark obviously tells the story of the guys that are kind of brought together to handle the mystical and magical sort of forces. So there's obviously one thing I didn't realize, though, before I saw this preview, is I didn't realize the actual Justice League would be at play.
Yeah, either did I. And it's kind of like Batman's just handballed it off.
Yeah,
like straight away. He's just like, is this magical? Get that on the fucking John Constantine. That ain't our shit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically what they do. And Batman looks like he plays quite a big part in this, which is good. Everybody loves Batman, and that's great. I was kind of hoping they'd go away from it a little bit.
Yeah, just a touch.
And just kind of have it as their own sort of thing. But it looks like to ease people in, to people that might not necessarily be a fan of, the like characters like Swamp Thing and, Deadman and Zatanna and all that sort of stuff. Let's just put a Batman in there just so people are still excited.
Just like lure the casual fans in.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you see this has actually got an R rating?
Yeah, exactly. It's following in the trails of The Killing Joke, which I think is interesting. Not that The Killing Joke really did too much for me as far as, oh my God, this has to be R-rated.
Yeah, at all.
But when you are dealing with these kinds of themes, I guess it's, it could work a lot better, and we'll see. Preview definitely looks awesome, though. The trailer looked great.
Fantastic.
And not to forget that we are finally getting Matt Ryan back as Constantine.
# bring back Constantine.
And they did.
We did it, guys. We bloody did it.
We did it. First, we saved Young Justice, just us on this show, saved Young Justice, and now we have brought back John Constantine. You're welcome, everybody.
Not all heroes wear capes. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true. But it's good to have him back. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great. Hey, guess what? Another toy company's fucked up some shit.
That's not like toy companies.
Yeah. I didn't even know the toy company name, but they gave us the first look at a complete Power Rangers Zords.
See, this I have not seen. So, paint me a picture, sir.
Very alien-looking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That are like shiny and metally, but obviously plastic because they're toys.
Obviously. So prior to this, we had only really seen, like in the movie posters, I guess, the little bit of them, like with the actual Power Rangers sitting on them or something like that. So they've actually gone and blown the whole surprise, and it's like, oh, hey, everyone, this is what this is going to look like. So,
and I'm pretty sure there's a picture of them all combined together, so you see the Megazord as well.
Oh,
so
right.
it's like totally ruined.
Yeah, that's totally ruined. I don't want to see the movie anymore.
Yeah, I'm done.
Excellent.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm gonna go see that so hard.
Yeah. Look, I don't understand how this keeps happening though.
Surely there's
who's
like
in charge of marketing, because surely, say if we'll talk about Lego as an example. So surely Marvel would have to give some sort of rights to Lego to create the pieces to release as sets and all that sort of stuff. But wouldn't they then also say, oh, hey, by the way, movie doesn't drop till X amount of time. Can you not release said figure until then?
Well, you would think so. Well, there's this little thing called an NDA. That's a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
And surely these companies are breaching that.
Well,
big time.
Yeah,
or the people doing these NDAs are fucking like not watching what they're doing. It's like, all right, you can like start releasing pictures and 1 month beforehand.
Yeah. Well, who knows who's doing what, but one thing is for sure, someone is fucking up somewhere.
Big time.
Big time. Speaking of fuck-ups, maybe.
Ooh.
Who knows?
Throwing theories, conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy.
Wah, wah, wah.
So just really, I'm just trying to segue into the next news article as best I possibly can. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 has undergone some reshoots, causing some to, maybe have a little bit of concern as to why this is necessary.
It's ruined. It's done. It's the shittest movie of the whole universe.
Yeah, but I think you only have to look back at Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange had some very, very late rewrites because they brought Dan Harmon in from Community, like the creator of Community and all that sort of stuff to bring in some comedic elements.
Can I just say,
yes,
like out of everyone on the internet, you probably gave that the highest rating ever.
Yeah.
You're dreaming, mate.
Well, mate, I know quality when I see it, and if other people don't, then what am I going to say?
Your shirt's telling me otherwise, champ.
But yeah, so look, you've thrown me as to where I was, but okay, yeah, my point was Doctor Strange had rewrites, didn't actually really affect anything, and the movie was still great. So a lot of people, I think, just tend to jump on this bandwagon. But let me tell you this. Well, let me ask you this. If this had have been a DC movie...
Oh, man, the internet would have blew up.
Right.
Surely.
So this is one of those things that kind of, a couple of people will
Well,
like...
no, wait. We would have got, leaked news 3 months beforehand saying directors and writers are clashing.
Yeah.
Surely.
Wonder Woman is doomed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, wait, no, we did get that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. But yeah, it's just weird. It's strange. Like, I understand that there can be a little bit of a cause for concern, but ultimately, I mean, this shit happens all the time.
It's just common practice. I mean, you film a movie, you edit the scenes, it doesn't quite work out the way that you think it would or it should. You go back and you reshoot. They have an allocated budget for it.
Correct. Because I guess another one that came out was Rogue One. Rogue One had to undergo reshoots, and everyone was like, "Oh, this movie's fucked. This movie's going to be terrible." All this sort of stuff. Obviously, things aren't going right. Guess what? Things don't go right. Sometimes when you're creating these things that cost like hundreds of millions of dollars to do, it doesn't always go perfect until you bring it together.
Honestly, it can be as simple as something like you need it to be sunny that day and it rains for the whole month.
Yep.
So you just move on to the next scene.
Yep.
And then you come back to it later.
Exactly.
It's just crazy. Do you want to know something crazy?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to sound dyslexic saying this because I'm looking at it and I'm like, how's this work? But Jurassic World 2 is to be both Jurassic Park 5 sequel and a Jurassic World sequel.
Right. Okay. So it's going to be...
It's going to be like a sequel to 2 movies.
Hang on. So what is Jurassic Park 4?
I have no idea.
Is that... wouldn't they be classing Jurassic World as Jurassic Park 4?
Matt, who knows how they do this? I thought Jurassic... I thought it was like a soft reboot. Like, that happened, but we're never referencing it again.
Yeah. I don't... Okay, this is probably, to me, one of those sequels that doesn't need to happen, but I understand why it is. Like, I understand
all about making that sweet bank.
Well, exactly. That's exactly right. Like, this movie, Jurassic World, made a shit ton of money.
It was one of the biggest performers of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, well and truly. And... so regardless of like what people thought, and some loved it, some hated it, all that sort of stuff, it was always going to garner a sequel based on the amount of like money that it made. I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, the ongoing joke that it's like, how many times do you keep opening up this park and having these fucking problems until you just stop?
Yeah.
And you no longer open the park because every time you do, somebody dies.
Well, shame on you for going to the park after realizing all this has happened. Or maybe there's like the world's best cover-up.
Maybe. Who knows? I'm not behind the scenes at Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, whatever it's called now. But all I know is that regardless of what happens, it's probably still going to make a shit ton of money as well.
Yeah, I'm going to throw my 50 bones at it.
50?
Yeah, I'll go
Where
see
do you
it
go
twice.
to the cinemas?
Twice.
Ooh, excellent. Hey, you know what else is excellent? My segues are on fire today.
You are fucking terrible at them, mate.
So, and it's actually not excellent at all, but the Suicide Squad extended cut was released this week. And a lot of people were quite excited about the fact that there's 15 minutes of extra footage. Like, this is going to give us like so much more of like Jared Leto's Joker, and it's going to like piece together a few of the things that didn't quite make sense. And now the world is pissed off because it didn't do either of those things.
Really?
Yeah. So effectively, all they got is about 2 minutes extra of Jared Leto. And it doesn't help the overall feel of the movie at all. And I haven't seen it myself yet. But apparently it doesn't help the overall feel of the movie, a la like a Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition or something like that. Because this is one of the things that people were like, it's almost to the point where people are more forgiving of a bad DC movie because they know there's going to be an extended cut. Like, is that the trend that we're getting to?
Is that like... Yeah, is that like 2 bites of the apple?
Well,
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think they would purposely make a movie less fantastic than they could, and then release a slightly more fantastic version so people will see both?
I don't think. Look, I can't put anything. Oh man, it's one of those things. Like Warner Brothers executives are probably capable of doing anything, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that. But let's not forget that theatrical releases and director's cuts have been around since the dawn of time.
Forever.
Like it's not something that's just new and just starting to happen. But it does seem like, when Suicide Squad came out and everybody saw it and it was getting mixed reviews and some people loved it and some didn't, there was almost an initial, are we going to get an extended cut that's going to fix this? Like almost straight away, people were talking about the fact that there'll be an extended cut when the Blu-ray comes out and all that sort of stuff. And they've done it. And if I remember correctly, they kind of said that they weren't going to do that.
Exactly. I was going to say, when this movie came out, they're like, no, this is the final cut.
This is the final cut. And here we are, 15 minutes of extra footage that doesn't really do much of anything.
Yeah. I'm sure I read this just recently that there's going to be a Joker cut of the movie that adds all his parts into it.
Well, okay. A, I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen.
Yep.
B, I wouldn't be surprised if that's purely for money-making purposes.
Yeah, 100%.
And C, maybe that is the reason why they didn't release any real extra footage of the Joker in this one.
Yeah, because there was only 2 minutes extra added to it, wasn't it?
Yeah. So when you're looking at, there are still images of Jared Leto's Joker that they use for promotional campaigns and stuff like this for this, that still, even in the extended cut, don't make the final cut. So they're still using promo images that you do not see in the movie whatsoever, whether it's theatrical or extended, and that has pissed a lot of people off. So that's probably where this Joker cut talk is coming from.
Possibly.
They'll kind of they'll say it oh, we're just trying to please the fans and all that sort of stuff, but it's just about making money. And like I said, nothing that executives at Warner Brothers do really surprises me anymore.
Yeah. They're crazy.
They are crazy.
They're on another level.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Now, talking about things on another level, this is how you segue, mate.
Yeah, right.
Kong, Skull Island trailer's been released.
Yeah. What did you think of this?
I have an issue with his scale because, as I guess everyone should know by now, there's going to be the Kong versus Godzilla crossover happening.
Yeah.
This guy, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking the scale of Godzilla is just monstrous, which I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
But this Kong, he doesn't look up to size.
Do you think? Because I would probably disagree in the sense that everything that I've seen prior to this and this trailer and everything makes him look huge. Like he's actually standing upright, like he's on 2 feet rather than sort of hunched over, on fours as gorillas usually do.
Hey,
I guess.
Can I interrupt and ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think at the end of the movie it will say dedicated to Harambe?
If it doesn't, that's a travesty.
I'll be getting my money back. Yeah. And it'll be getting the lowest rating ever of 1 out of 100.
Wow. I think this is really the only reason why this movie was made, is because 2016 was such a bad year for gorillas. And they're like, well, 2017, we'll bring it back, son.
Yeah.
We'll bring it back.
2017, year of the gorilla.
But going back to the actual movie and things that actually happen in the real world, the scale of this, of Kong himself, is actually bigger than it's ever been before. So I think, we're looking at something that takes mountains to hide him. And, I think that's fine. I think he's more than a match for Godzilla. My money's on Kong already, and I haven't even seen the movie.
The one thing that I want to get explained in this movie is, how does he eat? How much vegetation must this gorilla intake to stay that big?
A lot.
How is
that's scientific.
How's the land just not barren?
Well, I think it's a pretty big island for starters. Maybe they have people planting trees as they go. Maybe he eats meat like some of the other monsters that inhabit Skull Island.
Well, that's a good point.
Which I think is the most impressive thing about this. I think, they're kind of already playing it as, you already know the Kong story, and you're already going to be rooting for King Kong. essentially. And it's kind of a thing. So they're setting it up where he is already kind of like the good guy, and there are other sort of bad, other creatures like what do they call them, skull crushers or something like that are on the actual island for him to fight and battle and destroy and save the people. And by the end of the movie, you're going to be like, yeah, Kong. And then it's going to come to a situation where it's Kong versus Godzilla, and you're going to be torn as to who you actually vote for or root for, as it were.
Good point.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I think it looks great. A great cast. So you've got Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, John C. Reilly. Who else is in there? Samuel L. Jackson. I was listening to, I can't remember what I was listening to, but I was listening to something, and they actually pointed out something really interesting that I didn't even think about. It's actually like they've grabbed all of the current Marvel roster and thrown them on Skull Island. So you've got Tom Hiddleston, obviously Loki, Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, John C. Reilly was part of the Nova Corps and Guardians of the Galaxy, Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury. Man.
Could Kong be coming to the MCU?
Could he? Who knows? But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it anyway.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yes. Now, this news. This is probably some of the more exciting news of the week. So we all know Rogue One comes out in December, right?
What? That's news to me.
Yeah, but it does. So it comes out in December, and we're all already excited about that. We've got a little bit more like Rogue One news next, but this has just made it even more exciting than it could possibly ever be, and that's the fact that we are going to get a Spider-Man Homecoming trailer during the previews for Rogue One.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
So, and, they haven't really specified whether that's a teaser trailer or it's the official first trailer or anything like that.
It'll be a teaser, surely.
I don't know, though, man.
You know how they run now? It's like you get like 4 teasers, and then you get like the trailer to the trailer, and then you get your trailer.
Yeah, but this is December. And think about when this movie comes out. This movie comes out early next year. So we're almost at the point where it's, let's get into some real world trailers. So I think we're going to get a full trailer. I think it's going to be exciting as shit. But yeah, man, like I'm really looking forward to Rogue One now if I wasn't before, but I was.
You're looking for the Rogue One for the trailer of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Fair call. Yeah. I'm not going to doubt you on that. There's also talk that we're going to get the Justice League trailer around that time too, hey?
Yeah.
There was rumors that it was going to come out with the Fantastic Beast movie because they're both Warner Brother properties.
Yep.
They missed that boat.
They did.
But I reckon they're going to drop it around the Rogue One as well. You'd be crazy not to. All those eyes in those cinemas, man. Get it in.
Yeah, but I don't think they will. Oh, maybe. I mean, is it smart marketing or is it poor marketing to go and throw it head to head against Spider-Man Homecoming?
It's just a trailer, mate.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think you underestimate what these things do. I mean, remember the first time you saw just a teaser for Batman vs. Superman. Did that not pique your interest beyond all recognition for the next 2 years before we actually got the movie?
No, it was 3.
Well, yeah.
Well, look, the thing is, we're still a year away from Justice League coming out.
Yeah.
So, man, there's nothing to worry about. Just let them go head to head.
I think it's too early. I don't think they'll do it.
They will. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Let's make a bet right now.
Okay. 5 bones.
$5 coming my way.
So, what's the actual bet? So, you think they'll drop the Justice League trailer with Rogue One and Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yep.
I think they'll wait until early next year. I don't know what movie they'll drop it with.
Well, let me phrase it this way. I reckon we'll get a Justice League trailer in December.
Well, that's a little bit more broad now, isn't it?
Oh, mate. When does Rogue One come out? What's the exact date?
December the 21st, I want to say. It's around that time.
It'll come out 24th.
Right. How about with Assassin's Creed, do you think? Because Assassin's Creed comes out around that time as well.
Man, that's not even a blip on my radar.
Really?
Yeah, it looks cool, but I mean...
Well, I got news for you, pal. We're going to be reviewing that movie, so you'd probably want to get excited at some point.
No.
Look, let's move on. Emilia Clarke, and this is the other Rogue One news that we had. And this has only just dropped, but Emilia Clarke has joined Alden Ehrenreich and Donald Glover in the upcoming Han Solo film. So it's not actually Rogue One news at all, but it's Star Wars
related
anthology news. Yeah,
it's starting to pick up some steam, that movie.
Yeah, well and truly. Like, you've got a relatively unknown entity in Alden Ehrenreich, who me personally don't really know the kid at all. Certainly looks the part. But then what you've also got is you've picked up probably one of the hottest properties at the moment as far as like the music industry goes in Donald Glover. But not only
Just
that,
dropping mad beats all day.
But he also has he's also released Atlanta, which is a comedy show on FX, which is probably, in my opinion, one of the best comedies to drop in some time. Like, it's definitely one of the better shows of 2016, that's for sure.
I'll hold you to that. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. But so you've got this unknown in the main role. You've got Donald Glover, who's picked up the classic, like legendary, we'll call it whatever, role of Lando Calrissian, and now you've got Emilia Clarke, who is TV hot property as far as being Daenerys Targaryen on Game of Thrones and all that sort of stuff. But
I don't understand a single word you just said to me, mate.
yeah, which is really disturbing that you do know who Emilia Clarke is, though, do you not?
Yeah.
Cool. That's a start.
But like this whole Game of Thrones, man.
Okay, well, from now on, I'm talking to the people that actually know. And that's
I'm sure
the
there's not
listeners.
that many people that watch that show, from what I've heard.
From what I've heard, it's not that popular.
I've heard it's like wrapping up.
Yeah, it is. Wrapping.
Because it, like a poor ratings.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because like I heard like maybe 500,000 people worldwide watch it, and like 250,000 of those are pirated from Australia. So like they don't even count.
I would bet you are on the money with the 250,000 pirated freaking copies from Australia. But yeah, I think there's a little bit more than 500,000 people worldwide that watch it. But anyway, the point is more that it's shaping up to be a really, really well-cast movie. She's in an unnamed role as yet, but we'll certainly find out soon enough. But man, already this far out, interest is peaked beyond all peakageness.
Wow. That's pointy.
Isn't it?
So pointy. So, Deadpool 2. It has a new director.
Fuck yeah.
Man, scraping it in just in time.
Just in time.
And it's John Wick's David Leitch.
Leitch, I think.
Yeah.
It's one of those names that you never hear,
Leitch.
but it could be that.
Yeah.
But we'll say David Leitch. And if you've seen John Wick, like, man, this is a great choice.
It's not bad.
And he's been rumored for a little while now, but it's officially come true. And I think if we can't get Tim Miller, this is a pretty good second option.
I feel like in the back room of like the Deadpool production office, there's this like game wheel, and there's just all these different directors' heads on each notch, and they just kind of spin it, and it goes, it slows down, and whoever it lands on, hey, you're the new director.
Yeah, but then they call them, and then they're like, oh, actually, I can't do that. And they're like, oh, guys, respin.
Yeah.
And they just keep going until they get it right.
Yeah. So what's this, third time lucky?
Probably.
Yeah.
Look, I think to call... And I don't know a lot of his work beyond John Wick. A couple of other things, but not much. But I think if you're talking about a guy, you can't call him a second prize, because John Wick was one of the sleeper hits of like 2015 or whenever it came out. I'm pretty sure it was 2015. Could have been early 2016. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, such a good movie. And John Wick 2 is obviously coming out pretty soon. I think in February maybe. So I'm also super excited about that while we're talking about it. But yeah, that's good. And it's good news for Deadpool, and it's good news for Deadpool fans, because this is a movie we didn't want to see die or pushed back to, to God knows when, because they kept having these problems. Let's just hope him and Ryan Reynolds get on.
I was thinking this could have been the first movie directorless.
Well, it would have been Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
It would have been Ryan Reynolds making what I would assume would be his directorial debut. I don't know if he's done anything else previously. But that I guarantee that's what would have happened.
Yeah.
Would have been written, directed, starring,
produced,
co-starring, produced, scored, because they're still without a scorer.
Oh, really?
Whatever that is.
I don't even think Deadpool had an original score. It was all just like
I think
it was all just
pal.
bangers, mate. All just club bangers.
Well, there is an actual person that not only puts those together and puts the music with.
It's called Apple Music, mate.
Yeah, right.
And it's the editor. It's like Ryan Reynolds' like cousin.
It's Gordon Reynolds.
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds' brother. But yeah, no, it was Junkie XL. So they are also without that. But I'm sure they can find someone.
You can do that in post, easy, mate.
Easy. Easy. That is something you can do in post, I'm sure. But I also don't know how to make movies. So, speaking of movies that aren't being made,
Yeah. Oh my fucking God.
did I get one?
You got one.
Okay.
1 out of 20 ain't bad.
So this is the biggest news of the week, and this is the news that we'll focus on as our main topic. But Inhumans coming to TV
/ IMAX for first 2 episodes for 2 weeks only.
Yep.
They love their twos, don't they?
They do. So yeah, coming to ABC. So obviously the same channel that brings us Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who are currently doing some sort of Inhuman storyline. I don't know if they've kind of really dropped off that. They don't seem to be talking about it as much.
Well, all they did was like their version of the Terrigen mist bomb.
Yeah.
Fish oils, mate. Get them into you.
Right. And so anyway, so this is the big news. So what that effectively means is there will be no more Inhumans movie, which was set or slated for release in 2020, I believe.
Yes.
So
right at the end.
Yeah. So right at the end of Phase 3, it was the final part of Phase 3. So no longer doing that, but they are coming to TV. But before anybody panics, they are apparently coming to TV with cinema-like special effects and budgets and whatnot. But we will soon find out.
Now, what's going to be interesting about this is I want to know what the budget would be. Do you think they would release maybe like how they did with Agent Carter? Like, Agent Carter was a really shit show in the second season that I've never seen. I'm just basing that off the fact that I haven't even hit play on those 8 episodes.
Well, more on the fact that it got cancelled, probably.
Yeah. But the first season I actually really enjoyed. It had the same budget that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did, but it had, I think, 8 episodes, and it just killed it.
Yep.
It was quite good. It was like, written perfectly. It was shot beautifully. Everything was just really, really good about it.
Yeah.
I really hope that's what they're doing with the Inhumans, because they kind of need that budget to make it look good.
Well, and that's the thing. And I think the first question that you need to ask is, insofar as the Inhumans, is it suited for TV?
Yeah.
Or is it suited for the big screen? And initially, I would have said 100% this is something that needs to be on the big screen. And it's one of those things where people don't necessarily, like, it's not the most popular of like character groups or anything, is it? It's not like the Avengers or now the Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that.
Well, yeah, you're right. And it's interesting because, the Inhumans came out, I think, 2 or 3 years after X-Men came out.
Yeah.
Like, they've been around for like 60-odd years.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, they're not as popular really shows that, like, they've got some ground to catch up on.
Yeah, and it's probably more sort of how they've been used throughout the years and things like that. Like, they are an integral part of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
But it's it's one of those things where until fairly recently, even myself, who is a comic book reader, and I don't mean recently within the last couple of months, but I mean recently within my comic book reading years, that I've really sort of become more and more exposed to the Inhumans, especially the royal family and stuff like that.
Well, that's also because, they're kind of writing that X-Men arc out of Marvel now because they don't have the rights. So it's like, why support these?
Yeah,
So-
well, that's true too. However, Black Bolt is a character that I do really like, and I think it's somebody that I would have loved to have seen on the big screen.
Well, you will get to see him on the big screen, and I reckon these first 2, I guess, movie episodes, I don't know how they're going to do it, however long they go, they are going to be top-notch quality.
We'll see. I don't think the first 2 episodes are like movie-length episodes. I think they're just shot on IMAX cameras and made specifically for IMAX. So they'll be releasing them in the cinema, but it could very well just be an hour-long episode that they release in the cinema.
Yeah.
Now, I guess a couple of questions that I would have for that is, if that's the case, what happens to the next 6 episodes, and do they dip in quality because of how much they've spent on the first 2?
That's exactly what I was just about to say, is that exact thing. Like, do they blow the budget at the start and trickle down?
Yeah. Or will they have a big enough budget to do all 8? And if they do, then that's fine. And I think this is probably something that would benefit from, from some time to sort of develop these characters a little bit more, because giving them like a 2-hour movie might not be enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you're dealing with a number of characters.
Yeah, the whole royal family.
Yeah, so, and there are others that, like other Inhumans that are very well known, like Miss Marvel, that could, come into play at some point. And that's probably the better way to do it over a TV series. So my only concern is the budgeting. And, if you look at the difference between season 1 of Supergirl and season 2 of Supergirl, so while the story might have flipped, you can also tell that the effects have definitely flipped because CW does not have a CBS budget.
Exactly.
Now, ABC will probably have a fairly decent budget, as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does have. But, man...
You've got to keep up that quality.
Well, when you're talking about a character like Black Bolt, as an example, and this is a guy that can effectively, level an entire city with a whisper, as it were. That's some big screen CGI, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's huge. It's massive.
And I would hate for them to underuse the character. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Because we don't have a choice because it's coming.
Well, and we are just presuming that it might be 8 episodes. Like, what happens if it blows out to a whole 22 to 24 episode season?
I'm pretty sure they actually announced that it was going to be 8.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
There you go.
Don't 100% quote me, but if
That's
you've
what
been
they
listening
need.
to the show for long enough, you should never 100% quote me on anything. But basically, I'm pretty sure they said 8 episodes for this, and that's fine. However, this brings into light another question in the sense of, Vin Diesel was long rumored to be the part of cast as the part of Black Bolt, which I was never overly convinced about. Like, I get it. I get why they've done it. Like, the look is there and all that sort of stuff. Vin Diesel doesn't have to talk effectively, which is fine.
Which is great because, his voice box is ruined from doing Groot's voice.
Yeah, exactly. So unless you're asking the guy to say, I am Groot, it's probably good to cast him in a movie where he doesn't really have to talk. But Vin Diesel is probably at the point in his career where he's not going to take like a TV movie purse.
Well, that's the whole reason he's having beef with The Rock on the set of Fast 42.
Yeah.
Is because they're like kind of fighting for the limelight because, The Rock's coming in. He's like the biggest thing in the world.
Sexiest man alive, baby.
Oh, damn. But anyway, he is like battling for limelight with him.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like, he's getting shade thrown on him.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily getting shade thrown on him. I think he's just getting overshadowed.
Yeah.
Because, The Rock is probably the hottest property right now, as much as, the guy struggles with his acting at times. And I'm still not convinced, everyone, that the guy is right for the role of Black Adam.
I don't even think that will like follow through.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. He's been cast for about 17 years.
Exactly.
But we'll see.
Is it in a contract anywhere?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has signed on for that character whenever they decide to bring that character to life.
Isn't that in 2020 that's supposed to be coming out? Maybe that's when his contract expires, is like just before that. So maybe that's why they've pushed it back so long.
Maybe.
They're like, oh no, we've made a terrible mistake.
They keep watching his movies, hoping that his acting will progress enough that they can bring him into such a serious role as a Black Adam.
Well, Jumanji's really going to do that for him.
I think Jumanji will, and if Jumanji doesn't, Baywatch will.
Yeah.
But wanted to look. I'm not here to talk shit about The Rock. I actually love the guy. I think he's great. He's hilarious, but this is more about Vin Diesel. And, Vin Diesel he's got these string of Fast and the Furious movies. He's now obviously got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 coming. He is in his own sort of right, a hot enough property that I don't think he would then turn around and go, actually, you know what, I'm going to do a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. I think his ego might get in the way of that. The only thing that I think will go for him is like he loves saying the word family.
Well, that's true.
That's true. Like he's in the royal family.
Yeah, so now all you've got to do is add royal to the front of it.
Yeah.
So take all his dialogue from Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
And then put royal in front of it. That's good.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why he's like, I got you, fam.
I just want to know who they're going to cast as Lockjaw. That's my biggest thing. Another question that you've got to ask then, and I'll ask you specifically.
Okay.
How do you think an Inhuman series impacts a show like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is also on ABC, and as we've spoken about, they are running with an Inhuman type storyline. Do you think they'll fit in together?
All right, I'm gonna extend your question. I'm asking as a general question is how's it going to affect the TV show? But then also, how does that affect the MCU as a whole?
Well, I'm pretty sure now. I'm pretty sure that they've come and they've said that the shows aren't connected now, in the sense of like there will be no crossovers.
Yeah.
Effectively. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, all that sort of stuff. They're not coming into the MCU as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will not come into the MCU. Now they might talk about the events that happen in Infinity Wars and things like Infinity War and that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, the Universal incident.
Yeah, the incident, which actually, like, can I just, while we're talking about it, I'll go on a little bit of a rant. That annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's like you're in the same fucking universe. Just say it.
Just say it. Like, and stop saying, oh, like the big green guy or the hammer guy or, all that sort of, like, just, it frustrates the crap out of me. And I was under the impression that these things were owned by Marvel. So is there any real reason why they can't say it?
Nah, man, they're just being dicks, probably.
Anyway, it stresses me out. But back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that sort of stuff. So these TV shows, they aren't really going to cross over. So I don't think it'll affect the MCU. In all honesty, I don't think it's really going to affect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. either, in the sense of, I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will kind of very slyly run this Inhuman story out.
Yeah.
And then we just won't talk about it again.
Yeah.
And then the Inhumans will come out and it'll be a completely different entity.
Well, that could, lead on to Ghost Rider staying on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest concern right now for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or fans anyway, is this, Ghost Rider, is he sticking around? What are they doing? They've almost run his story out, effectively, in the TV show, to the point where he either goes off and does his own thing, or he just becomes a background or a main, but a secondary cast member of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So they don't really know. I don't think they really know what they're going to do with that yet themselves. But in regards to your comment, was it a question? I think what they'll do is they'll probably will focus more on that type of thing. So they'll keep with the Ghost Rider and they'll just go and do their own thing. And then we'll hear less and less and less about Inhumans. And then,
okay.
The TV show will take off.
I've got an answer for my own question here.
Sure.
Now, I think the Inhumans TV show may be set in the past or in the future. not in the current time of the MCU.
Sure.
So it could be set, maybe 100 years before.
Yep.
Because the Inhumans, they can live forever almost.
Yep.
Well, the royal family can.
Yeah.
I think in the comics, aren't they like thousands of years old?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm totally right on that. But I think that's one thing that might happen. And that way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. can still do their Inhuman story because, it's very watered down at the moment.
Yeah.
Which we've said for a while.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that's how I think it would happen.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
makes
different timeline, and it will kind of allude to the way that, like you said, Miss Marvel comes along.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense. There's no reason why they can't do that. It would just, if it was set in the past, I would question why there was never any talk of the royal family now then. Whereas if it's in the future, that's fine.
Yeah.
Who really cares? One thing we do know, though, that, Black Bolt and the royal family have been confirmed for this TV series, and that's the most important thing, because we're not going to be dealing with background Inhuman characters that nobody really gives a shit about.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to be dealing with the royal family, and that's who people, really want to see. Characters like Black Bolt and Medusa and Gorgon and stuff like that. They want to see those people. And then you can bring a whole heap of other characters in it as well.
Hey, I've got a question for you. You know how you brought up Lockjaw earlier?
Yeah.
Now, you know how the Terrigen Mist kind of can transform you?
But yeah.
Does that mean Lockjaw was a human before?
Maybe he was I would probably say he was just a regular dog.
Because...
With the Inhuman gene?
No, because that's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
The Kree came to Earth thousands of years ago, did experiments on early humans, and put their Kree gene, I guess, into people. Did they do, like, a breed line of dog?
You would assume.
Would you?
That's similar to...
Because dog breeding is only fairly recent, like within the last couple of 100 years.
Yes, but that's real-life dog breeding.
Not comic dog breeding.
Not comic dog breeding, which I'm sure dates back thousands of years. But look, if you're talking about, if you're talking about the Kree, why not? Why wouldn't they test on animals before they started to test on humans? It's been happening since the dawn of time, hasn't it? Which is not, I
it makes you think, though, doesn't it? Like, that's some guy, and he's just like curled up on like another person's lap, like, with his full-on human thoughts and everything.
That's probably why he has the ability to teleport or whatever it is that he does. Does he teleport or time travel?
I think it's teleport.
I think it's teleportation. He's probably just trying to get away, but they just keep following him.
Yeah, it's weird.
Who knows? Weird. That's very, very weird. Thanks for putting that in my head. I guess the ultimate question then that we come down to, because we can probably wrap this up. What are your thoughts? Are you excited? Would you have rather have seen a movie? What's your overall synopsis of this whole thing?
Yeah, no, I think a TV series is better because, like you said earlier, there's so much to the royal family. Cramming that in 2 hours it'll be a mess.
Yep. I guess I do agree in the sense of my only concern is the budgeting.
Yeah.
My only concern is how it looks and the CGI and all that sort of stuff. But if they can do that, that's fine. I just you've got to get to a point where you're just I don't really want another origin story because people are becoming we've had since Iron Man in 2008.
But TV shows are different.
No, that's what I mean. But if you were to do a movie, you would have to do it pretty much as an origin. Right?
Yep.
In theory.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of where, people are kind of really, do we need another origin story? We're kind of sick of them all, myself included. I think people are savvy enough with this type of stuff now that they read into it enough to find out the Inhumans, who are they? And they'll read up and they'll get their own idea and all that sort of stuff. I think gone are the days where you're just getting completely random people coming to these movies and going, oh, well, how did all that happen? I need to know where they came from and whatnot.
You were dreaming on that statement.
Hey, probably. I do dream. But my whole point to what I'm saying is I think it's better to do it in a TV series because then you're not trying to cram origin story into an hour and then action into an hour.
Well, and considering there's 6 members of the royal family?
Yeah, sure.
How are you going to do that?
Well,
everyone gets their dedicated 15 minutes.
No, you would focus on who the main two and who they are and how they came about and all that sort of crap. But it doesn't matter. I think it's better suited for a TV series as long as they can get the budgeting right.
I just want to know how Lockjaw came around.
I think we all do, pal.
And that's going to bring us to the weekly wrap, the segment where we wrap all the top moments from the week's TV shows. Starting off with The Walking Dead, episode titled Service.
Yeah. Before we get into top note number 1, remind me never to give you 2 cans of energy drink.
You can't
before we get started again.
You can't control me.
You are off the chain, my friend. Anyway, top moment number 1, and this was 90 minutes, but it was 90 minutes of Negan, pretty much.
Yeah, this was actually Negan had a great line at the end of this episode that kind of wrapped up what this whole episode was about.
Yeah.
I just put my dick down your throat and you thanked me for it.
Yeah, pretty much. My only problem with this is this really the episode that we needed 90 minutes of? Wouldn't this be best served as a prelude to a mid-season finale or something like that? I just don't think this was the time.
Really?
4 episodes in.
I don't know, man. I really enjoyed this episode.
Really?
Yeah. And last week we were talking about how do we keep building up the Neganism.
Yeah.
And this episode did a fantastic job of it. And you're a dickhead if you say it didn't.
Okay. Well, call me a dickhead, sir, because it didn't for me. For me, this was 90 minutes of stuff that we had in episode 1, and then we also had in episode 3. So what you're getting is Negan effectively shoved down your throat, which, as he says, but it's too much too soon. We get it. He's a prick. He's an asshole. He's crazy. He's got Rick wrapped around his little finger or whatever. But do we need to keep coming back to it before it gets too old too quick?
Well, you got to remember, this is a character who's going to be around for a long time. He's still around in the comics for actually maybe not, but he did stick around in the comics for a very long time.
Yeah, but that's my point. If he is going to be around for a long time, 3 episodes into 4 episodes, do we have to have like 3 Negan-centric episodes where it's basically just Negan monologuing about how fucked everyone is because he's Negan? Do you know what I mean?
Well, what he's done is he's kind of come into this town to kind of do martial law.
Yeah.
Because, Rick knows about it. Rick's like tight crew know about it.
Yep.
But do the people of the safe zone know it as much as they do? And this is what this was about.
Yeah, but what this should have been about is this should have been about Rick and the rest of his crew dealing with the ramifications of episode 1 and bringing the rest of the town up to speed and having them understand the horror and the sort of the shit situation that they're in. And it should have been more sort of focused around Rick and his, him trying to come to grips with everything that just happened. And it could have been a really sort of, like a really dramatic sort of well done episode. But all they did is rehashed the same thing that they did in episode 1 and episode 3. And this is just my opinion, but it's too much. And it runs the risk of like making Negan, who has all the makings of being a legendary TV character, into someone very one-dimensional. Remember, it's 4 episodes. And in each one of those 4 episodes, well, in 3 of those 4 episodes, we've had the same thing every time.
Well, mate, I have some news for you.
Yep.
This episode was as much about Rick as it was about Negan.
Correct.
And let me go on to moment number 2, and that is Rick seems to be like he's accepted his fate.
Yeah, but then, like, if that's the case, then for me, that's what the episode should have been about. It should have been about Rick coming to terms with everything that just happened. You're just rehashing the same thing again and again and again. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some good moments within it, and I think one of the ones was like Negan sort of, making Rick carry Lucille around with him the entire time and never once asking for it back. And the fact that Rick never dropped it, never tried to give it back, never did anything. Like he was, as much as he almost, wanted to smack him around the head with it a couple of times, it was really sort of, it was a good way to show how subservient, I guess, Rick has become to Negan. And it did stuff like that really well. The other things that it didn't do well is it's like, this whole gun thing. It's one of those things that I don't really understand. Like, we get it, Negan is a prick, but is Negan, like, do we really need to go through a whole episode with all these guys running around looking for these 2 guns? Because, again, 3 episodes later, Negan's like, I'm going to bash her head in with my fucking bat if you don't find these guns. We get it. That just happened. That literally just happened.
Mate, you are a hard one to impress, eh? I thought that was a fantastic storyline, and it got the whole town on board.
Well,
I mean, you look at Rick, he was like distraught that Michonne had a gun that wasn't on the registry, and he went in there and grabbed it off her to give it to him because he doesn't want to lose anyone else.
Yeah, I get it. And it did that well. And Andrew Lincoln, don't get me wrong, brilliant performance from him this week. And his sort of like inner torture, like he brought that to life really well, and I think that's great. And getting the gun off Michonne when he didn't have to, like that's, again, sort of showing you how fearful he is of the ramifications of him not obeying, Negan's every word. With one of the things that did shit me to tears, though, is the fact that, like, was it really necessary to give up your entire armory? You know what I mean? When, like,
yeah, absolutely. Like that was the whole premise behind this episode, essentially, was that Negan came to the conclusion, like, he goes, fuck, these guys have got some firepower. And when you see it, like, they unload their whole armory into his truck, it's like, holy shit, like, these guys actually do have a lot of guns.
So not talking so much about once Negan arrives, but Rick does mention, this is a situation where I thought about hiding some guns. He knew what was coming. Like, he knew that this was definitely going to be a situation that was going to happen. They were going to take their weapons.
Yeah, but he did also say that he wanted to do that, but he didn't, because what if they found it? Like, what happens after that? He knows he doesn't want to fuck around with Negan.
Yeah, but, like, to me, you've just killed yourself. You now have no way to defend yourself against Negan or his men if that situation ever arose, or do you have a way to defend yourself against the walkers or anything like that? So you've probably put your people in more danger by not giving them any sort of way to protect themselves.
Well, I mean, they still have all their knives and spears and swords and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that ain't a rocket launcher, is it?
Well, no, but you see, in a sense, like Negan, he's a lot smarter than Rick because, like, Negan will use guns as a last resort.
Yeah.
I mean, they survive without using their guns. And, like, this is a little bit of a backstory, but Negan is so anti-gun when it comes to killing walkers because, I mean, one shot will attract 4, another shot will attract more type of thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he completely understands that you don't need guns to protect yourself in this environment.
Yeah, maybe. I think it was just a little too, I don't know. But I guess what it does show is that he is more than willing to bend the knee, as it were, for the sake of, not sort of getting anybody else killed, because obviously he feels terrible about the events that happened in episode 1. And I did dig the story that he sort of gave about towards the end to Michonne in regards to why he is sort of the way he is. Like, it's a situation with, we bring up Shane again, and knowing that, Judith is probably Shane's child and all that sort of stuff, but he still has to love her anyway. And it's the same sort of situation. I really did sort of, like, it did explain his motives really well. And this is the thing, like, the episode wasn't bad, but it did a couple of little things really good. It was just, for me, it was just too much more like Negan, believe it or not. However, let's move on to top moment number 3. And despite all of this, Rosita and Michonne look set for some epic vengeance.
Yeah, well, earlier in the episode, we saw Michonne going out to try and shoot a gun, and holy fuck, man, is she just the worst?
Like, when you actually... she's on top of the truck, and she, like, the zombie comes out of the bushes, and she's like, okay, fair enough, you missed from that distance.
Yeah, okay, I'll let that slide.
Yeah, halfway there, miss. Okay, fair enough. Then he is literally close enough that she just jumps down, pulls her sword out, and cuts half his head off, and she was still missing from that distance. That's probably like 12 feet away.
It's ridiculous. If that, man, maybe 6. I tell you what, she must be an ex-stormtrooper.
Well, probably. But it is, it does show that, she has never really had a reliance on guns. And prior to this episode, you'd be hard pressed to actually think of a moment where she's picked one up. So she's always relied on her sword and all that sort of stuff. But she basically she looks like she is, accepting towards the end. And then she kind of just like, you realize that she actually hasn't at all. She was kind of just pandering to Rick, I think.
Well, and you could tell that was going to happen, really.
Yeah.
Not only that, we also see Rosita,
yeah,
like, out for vengeance.
Yeah.
She's going to die. She's going to get herself fucking killed, or she's going to get some other people killed because she's going to just do something stupid. I can see it.
Yeah.
She's fucking ignorant.
Well and truly. And so she's of the impression that, all she needs is one bullet. And that's all it takes. One bullet. She kills Negan. It's all done.
Yeah.
And the whole thing will fall to pieces and they'll all be saved. Guess what?
It's not going to happen, mate.
That's not going to happen.
It's so fucking stupid. Like, honestly, I've never seen, like, a more selfish mindset.
Oh, well and truly.
Like, than from, like, anyone in this show. I mean, like, Daryl going punching Negan after he said, I'm going to fucking kill someone if anyone does some stupid shit.
Yeah.
That was bad. This is the next level because not only did she see the ramifications of that, she's going to take it the step further and actually try to kill the bloke.
Yeah.
With something that is obviously not going to work.
Well and truly. So what we have here is we have Rick, who is, very, whether it's willing or unwilling or whatever it is, he's very subservient and he's willing to play the game because he understands the ramifications of if he doesn't. But then you've got Rosita, then you've got Michonne, and you've obviously even got Carl, who are out to just fuck it up for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's going to come into play very soon. It wasn't until like the very end where Michonne was walking down the road and happened to see the pile of burning mattresses and all that sort of stuff that the guys had left, because obviously they'd cleaned them out, and it's like, we don't actually give a shit about any of this.
Yeah.
This is just what we do. And they just set them on fire and they just throw them on the side of the road. So from there, who knows?
She looked pretty cut about that.
She did.
I mean, it's just a mattress.
Well, she's got to sleep on the floor now, doesn't she?
Well, I mean, she's got a carpeted floor. It's not that bad.
I think it's more the fact that, they were just so willing to take everything that they had, but they didn't actually need it or want it.
That's the mind games that Negan plays.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to make him the villain of the year.
Yeah, well, we will see. If they keep playing it like this, it certainly won't.
Fuck, you're a hater. What do you rate it, mate?
Well, before we go on to that, because, we haven't mentioned Daryl at all, and there was a little bit of what some might call an Easter egg.
Yeah, now this is, I know what you're talking about.
It's a stretch.
It's a big stretch. So early in the episode, we saw that there was a Morse code board on the wall.
Yeah.
So, you can learn how to do Morse code, a couple of dots and dashes.
Yep.
So, now I don't know Morse code at all.
Yeah.
Mate, it could hit me in the face. I wouldn't know what it was. Now, apparently that Daryl was... Because Daryl's not allowed to talk by Negan. He's just like, shut your mouth type of thing.
Yep.
Apparently Daryl was like blinking east.
Yeah.
To Rick. And like Rick, like, what? Man, if you started doing that to me, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, mate?
Yeah, but we're in a little bit of a different situation to these guys.
Even so, mate.
Every day for them is survival. Every day for you and me is what are we going to eat next?
That's survival, mate.
So, but it's kind of like, these are things that they do to adapt. And, if they are faced with situations like this, and if you think they're not preparing themselves for these sorts of situations, then, sir, you greatly underestimate the power and the skill of a Rick and a Daryl. So I guarantee you that this will come back into play, and he was giving them directions as to which way the compound is. I fully buy into it.
Yeah, no, look, I'm not saying it's the worst idea.
Yeah,
I think it's a stretch. But, man, it'd be so cool if it was real.
Daryl was very blinky.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
And he's got that hair in his eyes. Fuck, mate, get a haircut.
That's the thing. For a guy with that much hair in his eyes, you never really see him blink. He didn't even flinch/blink when Negan went to hit him with the bat.
Yeah, because his hair was in his eyes.
Here he is, like, blink, 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 blink. That's how you say east in Morse code, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so anyway.
What do you rate it?
Look, I'm going to preface this by saying didn't need 90 minutes at all for this episode. Focused way too much on doing the same thing with Negan, but it did have its slight good moments here and there, like with in regards to a couple of the things they did. So it wasn't by any stretch of the imagination a terrible episode. I do really, really, really fear what they're going to do with Negan. And there are rumors that there's a major change from the comics coming and all that sort of stuff. We won't get into it. Man, borderline 3 for me.
Oh, you are a harsh prick.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this a 4. It was just good, man. I don't know how you don't like this.
It's just too much of the same.
Is this becoming your outcast?
No, not at all. Like, don't get me wrong. I love this show. And despite the criticisms that this show gets, I don't get into that. I like it. I think the show is great. I think 7 seasons in, we're still doing really well. We're just finally at the point where we have a top quality villain, maybe, but it's already 3 episodes and they've just jammed him in our face, basically saying the same shit every episode. We get it.
Hey, can I go on a tangent for a sec?
Sure.
I don't know if you've seen this, but they have now released a Lucille replica bat.
Oh,
yeah,
hello.
Yeah, so it ranges from $80 to $120 depending on where you look. But it's full size and everything. I've got to get myself
Wrapped
one.
in barbed wire and whatnot.
I've got to get myself one.
Does it come with bits of Glenn's skull?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Comes with a free face mask of an eye popping out.
Yeah, sweet. That's really cool though. That'll look good on the wall.
Yeah, man, that's going to go right here in the studio.
Hey, nice. Well, then I don't have to get one. I'll just look at yours. All right. Anyway, moving on. What was that? What's next? Supergirl and Changing.
Yeah. So top moment number 1. I don't know if this is a top moment, man, but Jimmy is now full on Guardian.
He is out of nowhere, kind of. It's kind of like, oh, hey, this is happening now. I need my damn suit. And there's his suit. It's just good to go.
Fully lead lined, of course.
Of course.
But I do have a question about that shield.
Oh, do I have a question?
How does that work? Is it like a Captain America shield? Is it
Well, don't forget that the man holding the Captain America shield is also quite super himself. This is realistically just Jimmy Olsen holding the shield that took a hit from somebody that was knocking not only Supergirl around, but the Martian Manhunter and everything as well.
Yeah.
So something obviously quite powerful. Now, this leads me to my question is, does he now have enhanced physiology as well because of his suit? A couple of things that were never really sort of spoken about, and maybe that'll come out later. But come on, man, this is just a regular dude wearing like a lead-lined suit.
I'm sure
would probably be heavy as fuck. By the way.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I'm sure it's heavy as fuck, and I'm sure if he still got hit, you would still feel it.
Hey, he's got a black belt. All right, he's got a black belt.
Oh wow, I've got a brown belt in my cupboard. You don't hear me bragging.
Yeah, but yours is 44 inches and just hold your pants up. So
On the last notch.
yeah. So, but with this, like it's just like, you know, is it going to become a situation where, you know, they kind of like use him when it's like a situation where Kara loses her powers?
Yeah,
Because
that's exactly what's going. No, he will be the savior in the crossover when she has to leave.
probably, like, who knows? Because this is a situation where you live in a world where not even the world, sorry, you live in the city. You live in the city that has not only Supergirl, but it also has the Martian Manhunter,
Yep.
among other, you know, you've now got Mon-El, or do you? We'll find out later. But, you know, you've got all these really actual super beings. There is no need for a vigilante suit or not. So it's going to be one of those situations where they probably overplay their hand of Kara losing her powers all the time, which is very fucking Smallville, by the way.
Oh my god, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, you know, I watched the video today on YouTube by Looper.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, why can't Tom Welling never get hired in Hollywood anymore?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Laughed my ass off all the way through it.
Tom Welling, we love you, man. We know you got a job, so that's cool. You keep doing what you do, champ.
What is that?
I don't know.
Signing copies of Smallville season 10.
Yep. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Top moment number 2.
Top moment number 2. Do you want to take this?
Yeah. So top moment number 2 is Alex comes out to Kara, but then kind of, you know, immediately gets shut down from Maggie. For me, all right. So we'll talk about this. So obviously she comes out as gay to Kara, and initially when they did this, or when they started to allude to this, you know, more last episode, I was kind of worried that they were kind of just throwing it in there for the sake of like throwing it in there, for diversity's sake. But man, after this week, I completely like buy this whole thing. Like I buy the performance. I think
I would have bought it if there was tears, man.
Oh, well, not everybody can cry on cue, man. Not everybody's Sylvester Stallone, buddy. But we're talking like Chyla Lee, I believe her name is pronounced. It's another one of those things where you just don't know until you hear it. But she sold the shit out of this performance for me this week. And I'm into it, man, because it was kind of like, you know, you saw her entire sort of like inner turmoil through the whole thing, and then she finally gets the courage to do it, and it's like instantly shut down.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and you know
you did have to feel for her on that.
You had to feel like if that part of the show didn't hit you in some sort of feels, man, you need to check your feels levels because they need topping
adjusting.
up. I don't know. But yeah, you know what I mean. She sold the shit out of it for me.
Mind you, like, is she like just a little bit too self-confident in herself, like thinking, I'm going to come out and now she's going to, you know,
No,
love
I think
me.
it was more she was probably like misreading the signs.
Maybe.
Because something that's like new to her and she doesn't really understand it yet because she's only coming to terms with it herself. It's one of those things where, you know, she was probably, whether the word is confused or not, but she probably thought that this was, you know, as easy as it was going to be. It's like, I'm going to come out and, you know, this is going to happen. And then I'm going to, you know, talk to Maggie and then she's going to love me and, you know, all will be great. But it didn't happen. And that's, you know, probably some real world shit. Let me tell you. I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was
nice.
good. I thought it was good. And I thought it was good because, you know, a lot of shows tend to do these sorts of things just to, like I said, just to do it.
Yeah.
Just to have it for diversity.
But this was an actual problem within the show.
Yeah, but this was something that they did and they handled really well. I thought it was really good. And for them to now keep that storyline, that's fine by me. But if you just throw it in there, it gets annoying at times because you know that the television studios or whatever are just doing it for the sake of saying that, yeah, we did it, like, look at us.
Yeah.
But these guys actually, like, that's obviously a storyline they care about, and that's good.
All right. Let's move on to top moment number 3, the most telegraphed plot line in the world. Cadmus kidnaps Mon-El.
Yeah.
Way to do absolutely nothing with probably one of the better characters on Supergirl.
Well, had a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And he's by no means gone or anything like that. He might disappear for a couple of episodes or whatever.
No, but when okay, I'm going to throw it out there. There's going to be 2 choices that he's going to become.
Yeah.
Cyborg Superman, which has already been confirmed to be in the series.
Yeah.
But I'm still holding out for Dean Cain to be that because I reckon he's away getting jacked at the moment.
Can I spoil that for you already?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure a Cyborg Superman will be Hank Henshaw, but the original Hank Henshaw.
Oh, right.
Because that's more
'Cause he
in line with the
disappeared.
comics, and he disappeared as well. So, so I'd say that's what's going to happen.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Very well done. Or he's becoming Superboy.
Yeah, but what? Like, that's
they'll do a TV version because Superboy's a clone.
Yeah.
So, and Superboy can't fly.
Just keep him. Just keep him as Mon-El.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. But I guess this is a character that they kind of started, and you're like, yeah, he's a bit of an asshole, but you like him and all that sort of stuff. But then almost immediately they spent this whole episode doing sort of next to nothing with him, and then it's kind of like, oh, hey, here's Cadmus.
Yeah.
Back up to their old tricks. And just while we're on that, can I point out something that really fucks with my life?
Is it going to be the last scene?
Yes. Why does this woman need to keep saying welcome to Cadmus?
Yeah, like
we fucking know who you are.
Yeah, I know. I saw that and I was like, why the fuck did she say that? And like she's driving the car, right?
Yeah.
Like surely you wouldn't even be like involved in this operation, surely.
She might have been in the passenger seat. But
yeah, of course they're on the other side.
Yeah.
But okay, in saying that, what's the driver thinking? Like,
bitch, I work for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's just one of those things where, like, this is now a well-established character, and she just has to show her face,
and we know
have the window roll up. Like, you don't have to say "Welcome to Cadmus."
Yeah, and the fact that she looks like in the mirror and like not over her other shoulder where she could probably clearly see him in the back.
Yeah, I know that's TV stuff, right? And I know that's the reason why they do it. But to me, it's so stupid. It's like when because you've already been set up to know that Martian Manhunter is disguised as someone else, yet they always have to show his eyes flashing just in case you forgot that this is Martian Manhunter.
Well, that makes it easy for people who don't know the comics. That's why they do that.
But you if you've watched the show, if you've watched the episode, you already know who that is.
Yeah,
like,
but mate, if you're like me and you're holding like 2% interest in this show, and I'm like checking out like funny memes and shit, because like memes are life.
Yeah.
That helps me keep in touch with what's happening,
right?
In my peripheral vision.
So you're saying then that you need Welcome to Cadmus?
100%.
Just to bring you back.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
she works for Cadmus. Anyway, look, that's beside the point. It's just something that really shits me to tears.
What do you rate it?
This week's episode. Look, I think it gets an extra point. It gets an extra point for the work that he did with what's her name, Alex's character.
Yeah.
So for me, this is an extra point. So it's 4. But that's a full point. That's so it's not a 4 episode.
Okay.
It was barely a 3 episode. But yeah, it gets a 4 because of that, and I think they did it really well. So
fuck, you're all over the place, mate. You need to check yourself. I'm going to give it a 3. Let's move on to Gotham, Mad City, The Executioner. Can we just move past this Mad City shit because it's fucking terrible?
No, because you've got to remember that it's a mad city. Anyway, top moment number 1. Yeah,
Barnes goes bye-bye.
Doesn't he?
That's really disappointing. I wanted him to like... How come someone who gets affected by something just can't turn out to be a good guy? I know. Like, how hard is it to turn him into... This could have been the show's Batman that they've been looking for so fucking long.
Fat Man, more like
Fat
it.
Man.
But I think it's it's a situation where, they've kind of... they've already, like, they don't even really have a big quota of good guys as it
exactly.
as it
That's what I
stands.
mean.
So there's no reason why they couldn't have done that. But then you go sort of turning him more into a vigilante, which, let's be honest, we have enough fucking vigilantes right now. But I don't know. I think it was a shame that they rushed it. Well, not that they rushed it, but they wrapped it up so quick.
Yeah.
And so neat. But that's very Gotham of Gotham to do that. So this is a situation where I thought it might carry on for a bit of time, but it's essentially been 2 episodes and that's it. So what do you do?
I know. It's a wasted character.
I guess,
Like, for someone who's like such high profile as him,
Yeah.
he's probably the most high profile actor in this whole show.
yeah, well, yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah,
you counting Ryan from the OC, mate.
yeah.
Go back to California.
Anyway, I don't know. I think it's just. I think it's a waste of a character. I think it's obviously done just to because they're kind of like, all right, we need to get Jim Gordon into the captain seat.
Maybe.
So they've just pushed him out of the way or whatever. What was the point though of ending the episode with like Barnes in Arkham Asylum, in chains, screaming guilty? Like that's not like a cliffhanger to end on an episode or anything like that because we get it. Like we knew that already. Like
yeah, I know. Maybe that was just to say he's gone.
it may be.
Like, don't expect him back.
Or is it to say that he's not gone? Like, here he is. Keep this in mind because he will be back, but he's going to be genuinely fucking crazy next time he comes
quietly,
back.
he could, honestly, if he's as strong as like what they've already portrayed him, he could bust out of that straitjacket.
Well, see, that's another thing that, like, I wasn't even going to bring it up, but now that you mention it, like, he got into a fist fight with Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
Like, and I think Jim Gordon had like a weapon at some point. He might have had a little bit of a steel bar or something. But this is a guy that ripped somebody's head off with his bare hands.
Yep.
That takes some crazy strength.
Which was already alluded to in another episode. Like,
It was.
This needs a lot of force.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just like, oh, well, I'll just get into a fist fight.
Yeah.
No, you won't because you will die. But that'll never happen.
Consistency.
Oh, consistency is key. But Gotham does not seem to have it. Top moment number 2. And
perfect. This is a perfect segue.
So Ivy reveals herself to Bruce and Selena, and then bad guys in masks show up.
Yeah. Now, like I said, consistency. Is it just me, or did she seem to be about 10 years less mature now?
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like she, when they first brought her in as this grown-up version of Ivy, it was alluded to that she was kind of, well, whether it was alluded to, but it's very much seemed like she was more mature and everything as well. However, take it forward a couple of episodes, and all of a sudden you've got her back in her 10-year-old kid brain, in 20-year-old kid body. It's just like, this is just one of those side stories that I don't even really know why they threw it in there. I don't know where it's going, but most importantly, I don't know if I care. But this is kind of, I think I mentioned it like maybe last episode or the episode before. They've kind of almost run their course with Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
This show, and now they're like scrambling.
I've been saying this since episode 2.
Well, there you go.
Of season 1.
Yeah, but they've almost run his course, and now they're going to start doing these other little side stories that probably don't make sense.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, who is Bruce Wayne if he's not devoting everything he can to eventually become Batman? It's just, what a shit use of what is probably the most iconic character ever.
And I just want to ask you something here. Like, how do these kids seem to find themselves in these ridiculous situations? It's like, okay, Poison Ivy stole a gem.
Yep.
And then someone threw the gem and it cracked and it seemed to have a key in it.
Yep.
And now all these guys in masks are chasing us. Like, this just happens like on a weekly basis to these guys.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be like, if it's going to somehow come back around to the Court of the Owls or
100%,
something like that.
100% it fucking will.
But I just, for me, I just don't care, man. I don't care. I said it last week. This show should be focusing on Jim Gordon and Harvey Bullock rather than, baby Bruce and baby Selena. I tried to give it as much time as I could to like maybe grow into something that I'd actually like give a shit about. But as soon as he found out who his parents' killer was, that was it.
Yeah.
They had nowhere to go for this kid anymore, and it was done. Top moment number 3. Boy, was it a stretch this week. Top moment number 3.
Just so you know, you don't have to like fill out like 3 moments. If there's only one top moment,
no,
you,
I think
you can say that.
I think we owe it to everyone to give them 3. I think 3 is like that number that it's just what's 1? Nothing.
1's enough.
Is
One,
it?
1 and done, mate.
1 is the loneliest number. So you get 3, and it's
It's a party.
yeah, it is. 3's a party.
You can tango.
Anyway, Nigma is onto Penguin, or is he? No, he's not. Or is he? Who cares?
Not me.
This is okay. So this is a storyline that actually wrapped up quicker than I thought it was, in the sense that Isabella turns out to be actually dead.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
Seems.
That actually shocked me. It was like the first scene of the episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're done.
Okay.
You're done.com.
That's fair, because I dead set thought she was going to come back around and expose the whole thing and all that. And don't doubt Gotham.
It could happen.
They could definitely do it somehow. But it took Nigma a whole sort of 5 minutes to figure out it was foul play. And that's fine, because you would expect this guy to be able to, if he didn't figure it out.
Well,
that
he's a
quickly,
CSI.
Well, not only that, but he's also, as smart as he is as the Riddler character, whenever he becomes that or whatever. My whole point is it took him 5 minutes to figure out it was murder, and that was fine. The only thing that I like that I guess I have to question, if I'm going to question anything, is that he finds out from a blind guy, right?
Oh my God.
Like,
is this like the biggest fuck up of the episode?
I don't know, but it's like he finds out from a blind guy that the blind homeless guy heard her screaming,
Which she actually didn't.
which she didn't. If you go back to the episode
It
where
was,
this happened,
somebody help me.
yeah,
That was it.
there was no screaming. She's like, "Oh my, oh no, oh, help! Somebody help me!" And then it was done. There was no screaming, unless like they did it off camera or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But who knows, man? But that was just, for me, like, that's, come on, man. I get that, like, there's no tire marks. Why wouldn't she try to hit the brakes? Like, was she asleep? Who falls asleep 4 blocks from their house? All that sort of stuff. All is good enough to make it sort of, happen. But this blind guy saying he didn't, like, he heard screaming when it didn't actually happen. Like, fuck you, Gotham. We're not idiots.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Oh, but then he goes on to blame Butch.
Yeah.
Like, everything is pointing to Penguin.
Everything is coming up Butch, because this is a situation where he's like, okay, so how could the police not see that these brake lines were cut? Obviously, they were paid off. Who has power to pay off the police? Butch, who is on the run for being, for being,
we don't even know if he's in Gotham.
You don't even know where he is.
Like, how would he?
So this is a guy who is as smart as he is.
Yeah.
That then turns around and then blames Butch. That is not Nigma being an idiot.
Maybe
that is poor fucking writing.
Maybe he's like pulling the wool over the eyes of the Penguin.
Okay, that's fine. If that happens, that's great. And, more power to the Gotham writers for doing that. But I guarantee you, based on everything that I've seen in this show so far,
they're not doing
happen.
that. No.
He genuinely believes it's Butch instead of Penguin. And we know it's all going to come crashing down and all that sort of stuff. And that's fine. But, like,
yeah,
man, I don't know, man. That just shits me off.
All right, let's move on. We've talked about Gotham enough here. What do you rate it?
Look, I didn't really get much, and I always try to look with this show, like I always, every week, I try to look for something.
Always give it the benefit of the doubt.
Always give it the benefit of the doubt, but there was just like nothing for me this week. Like, it just, I don't know, man. 2.25.
Wow.
Yeah. What about you?
2.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. It's doing nothing for me at all.
Yet here we are. Still talking about it.
We're only talking about it because people like to hear us talk shit.
Well, that's true, but
I hope people realize I genuinely hate that fucking show.
See, I don't. It's one of these outcast shows where if I just had to sit there and watch it, that's fine.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If
If I could just watch it, but now that I have to go and talk about it,
yeah.
And I couldn't, like, even if I didn't want to watch it anymore, I'd still have to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you've invested too much time in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the How I Met Your Mother effect.
Oh, don't even Don't even get me started, son. Don't even get me started. Let's move on to Flash.
Can we do an episode on how much we hated that
no.
fucking episode of How I Met Your Mother?
How much time you got? We don't have enough time.
Yeah.
The Flash.
The Flash.
Shade.
So top moment number 1 is that Wally's got the alchemy willies.
He does. Wally's got the
What
willies.
are you doing writing shit like that?
Hey, man, this is what happens when you let me write the top moments. So Wally's got the alchemy willies. What did I even mean by that?
I don't know. I'm letting you take the lead, mate.
I guess first, before we even get into it, let's address the fact that Flash are really becoming like it's freak of the week, because this character, this whole Shade thing, there was no point for this character. It's just another one that they brought out to distract everyone from the actual storyline, which is barely sort of happening in the background.
You're 100% right on that.
Yep. And they even mentioned that alchemy has a couple more of these creatures, because they've found these husk skins. So they've found 6 husk skins. They've found three of the metahumans, whatever you want to call them, from Flashpoint.
So there's still 3 more.
So there's still
rolling
3
around.
more rolling around for us to be, like thrown freak of the week at. So because these characters mean nothing. They only act as a plot device to get us back to where we need to be with, as far as like what Alchemy's doing or what Wally's doing and all that sort of stuff. So that to me is a bit frustrating, because I think the show can do so much better and has done so much better in its time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to get better from here on in, because Wally is, it's obvious he's going to get his powers. Obviously. So he's going to become a major contributor to this season, and I feel like he might almost be the villain.
I think
at least for a while, he's going to cause some trouble for Team Flash, because we haven't seen anything positive come from people who have got their powers from alchemy.
Okay. I will answer that when we get to top moment number 3.
Okay.
Because I have an answer for that, or like for what I believe is going to happen, but we'll wait till we get there. But this is a situation, so like Wally was a major focus of this episode, and I think you're 100% right, he will be a major focus for the rest of this season. I think with this whole thing, like it was kind of like he spent so much time trying to get like powers, like he wanted them so bad and all that sort of stuff, and then to not get them, to then get them potentially, you know what I mean? It was a bit of a runaround sort of way to do it. I did appreciate, like the episode, I guess, in the sense of what it's trying to do. I do love the fact that Iris just dropped him just cold.
Yeah.
He's like,
the guy cannot take a hit, can
oh,
he?
hell no. Or she can throw a punch, which is
that's a
probably
good point.
More likely accurate. But she dropped him cold, and I mean out cold, and then just drag him back in the cell. It's like, son, you ain't going nowhere. I think for this whole thing, so it obviously all leads to they find alchemy, and they use Wally as a like a
Bait?
Alchemy finder.
Oh yeah.
Sort of
I
thing.
guess he's like the homing beacon.
Yeah. So he brings them to all that. The biggest thing that I wanted to point out for this whole like part of the storyline was, I think it was interesting to note Julian Albert's lack of involvement in the whole thing, and his sort of like his mysterious disappearance.
Yeah, it's because he's alchemy, bruh.
Is it though? Because like to me that would be too obvious. I don't think they're going to go that way.
Nah, he's got a split personality. I guarantee it, man. It's a land from the comics.
You reckon?
100%.
All right.
100%. Anyway, let's move on. Top moment number 2. Killer Frost comes clean.
Yes, she does.
So I guess the rest of the crew know, and she's on the verge of being bad?
Yeah. So they kind of, they're completely in the dark, and Cisco's the only one that knows, and then he brings them all up to speed. She gets pissed off.
That's a total dick move, by the way. I'm sure he did a dick move like that in the last season with her as well.
I'm pretty sure he did. I don't know how they're still friends sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very much not his story to tell, regardless of whether he believed he was in the right. But it definitely wasn't, and you're exactly right, it was a dick move from him. But once he does come clean, and everyone kind of knows that she's turning into Killer Frost, or she's having the potential of turning into Killer Frost, it's kind of almost pushed aside then.
Yeah.
And that's the last we kind of hear of it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you can change.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like, can you?
Can you,
like,
though?
The future's been seen, and you're evil.
Yeah. But I think obviously it's just, let's flesh out this part of the storyline, and then we'll get to that in next episode's Killer Frost-led episode entitled Killer Frost.
How original.
It's directed by Kevin Smith, by the way, so it should be quality or not. It goes either way with that kid.
Yeah, it'll either be like top-notch or just full of shit jokes.
Nah. He'll do good. I really like the episode he did on Flash last year as much as other people didn't necessarily like it. I think the vast majority did. I think
I couldn't even remember what one it was.
Oh, wow. Anyway.
You couldn't even tell me, mate.
I couldn't tell you the title of it.
Yeah, see, you're a bloody dickhead.
Whatever. Anyway, so this is a situation where we're obviously we're just using this as a little bit of a middle sort of story to get Caitlin to...
full on Frosty.
Yeah, full on Frosty. But I guess this is becoming a team full of metahumans in some respect. Like just about everybody is going to end up with powers.
Yeah.
Except Joe and Iris.
Actually, Iris looked a little bit sad, like when Barry was explaining to Wally about their alternative timeline.
Well, I think...
Because she was like, oh, I was like cooler.
Yeah, exactly. But...
and she was. And that's what I said. Like, if you actually went back and listened to the episodes, but you didn't.
I was busy.
Yeah, too busy exploring the world like a jerk.
But I think you're right in the sense that she was obviously, a little bit upset, and I think he even mentions that at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know, a team full of metahumans. Let's see how that plays out. Top moment number 3.
We meet Megatron. Savitar.
We meet Savitar, the god of speed. This is so okay. First thing I want to point out, the dude is fast as fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Fast as shit.
Man, when are they going to change that damn intro? Barry Allen, you are not the fastest man alive.
You haven't even been close, apparently. There have been, you've always become the fastest man alive, but then you never start the season as it or whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Stop saying you're the fastest man alive. You're bragging and you can't back it up.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy's fast. He obviously has a very close connection to the Speed Force, which is somewhat based on the color of the lightning. But yeah, his look, interesting.
Oh man, looks savage.
Does look savage, but I'm interested, and maybe it'll change the more we go along. I'm not going to judge it based on the first little look that we got. But I'm wondering why they went with this when the look of the actual character in the comics is nothing like it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Is it Wally West? Oh, there's another speedster in the comics who almost has a full... It is Wally West who has a metallic suit. Or is it... I can't remember off the top of my head. People on the other end of this are like, it's blah, 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 you dickhead.
Yeah.
But
I also don't know where you're going with this. But that's
it's amalgamation of two characters, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Who is?
This Avatar.
Oh, is that why you think he looks the way he does now? Yeah, maybe. Again, a bit of a stretch from the comics, but...
That's what the Flash does, though.
That's kind of what the Flash does, I guess. I'm hoping they don't keep this look because I don't think it's necessary in the sense of... you don't have to have this big CGI character. I get it's big and imposing and all that sort of stuff. Very much, it just looks exactly like a fucking Transformer.
Yeah.
It does look like Megatron.
It would have been so good. Considering that people are doing, all these rituals to I guess, create metahumans, it would have been good for Savitar to have that, classic look of, almost a barbarian.
Yeah, something like that. That would have been good. So going back to what I was talking about with Wally West and where I see the future of Wally West, spoiler alert for future episodes, by the way, maybe. If you look at comic book, history or whatever, Wally West is actually the guy who I think in the end is the one who beats Savitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is a situation where I think this is why Wally will be such a main focus of the series, because I think it will be up to the combined efforts of everyone. So it'll be Flash, it'll be Wally West, it'll be Jesse Quick. They'll have to get all the speedsters back together.
But this will be Wally's coming of age.
It'll be Wally actually, this is him becoming Kid Flash, the Kid Flash from the comics, and he will be the one who will defeat Savitar in the end.
Fair enough.
Yeah, with the help of everyone else, and it'll be different for the show as well, which will be good.
What do you rate it?
This was, this kept me interested. To make it quick, I'll give it a 3.75 out of 5.
I'm going to give it a 4. That end just made me everywhere. I'm done.
All right.
Let's go on to Arrow. That end episode title, Vigilante. So top moment number 1 is we've got another Vigilante by the name of Vigilante.
Oh, hey, CW.
Wow.
Yeah, look. Cool.
Mate.
Yeah,
Look,
okay. So
if there's one thing I have an issue with the CW is that they don't have enough vigilantes on their channel.
that's true. It's true. They could do with several more. Yeah, so, okay. I get where they're going with it, and I get what they're trying to do in the sense of, like, when they reveal who the vigilante is, there'll be ramifications and things like that. If you do want spoilers...
Just throw it out there because...
Yeah, look, there's a very good chance that it is the district attorney. I think it kind of alluded to that anyway.
Yeah.
But I think as far as you're looking at names and comics, that's who it is. So there you go. So the vigilante is the district attorney, and that'll obviously cause problems later on down the track and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I thought it was I thought Oliver's stance on the whole thing was very odd.
You know what it's like? I know what you're saying here. It's kind of like, that motherfucker's killing my people.
Yeah.
He's taking my points.
Well, it's almost exactly that. It's like, and I think Artemis is the one who says it, and she's like, who gets to decide, like,
Who gets to kill?
who gets to kill, basically. And it's kind of, it's very, because he only recently just went back to kind of killing people
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
And then to turn around and say, oh, you can't have a person out there killing people. It's like, okay, fine. I get it. If he's killing innocent people, which he did eventually in the end, there were some bystanders in the hotel and all that sort of stuff.
Mate.
Collateral damage and all that sort of crap, and he obviously doesn't care, and that's fine. But this wasn't established at that point. It was just a vigilante going around killing bad guys, exactly like Oliver Queen, and he had a very, very weird stance. But I do like how it tied into the flashbacks with that, though.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. Top moment number 2, Lance goes to rehab.
Oh, man. I was like so shocked that he wasn't Prometheus.
Yeah, like, seriously? They played that so well. I thought he was going to be for sure. Look, you know, it's just me trying to bring in 3 top moments to an episode. But look, I will give you this. Paul Blackthorne does play a very good alcoholic.
Yeah, you know what? He does. He plays that, like, broken man really, really well.
Yep.
Just don't get him to cry because he's fucking terrible.
He is a
at
terrible
that.
crier. I will
Like,
give you that.
He tries way too hard. Like, I remember when Laurel died last season, it was just like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah, and that's how they ended the episode. It was like a cry-off between him and Oliver.
Yeah.
I think. And it was just terrible.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, get away.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of a waste of Captain Lance, the character.
Yeah, he's a really strong personality and a really strong character. 100%. What are you doing with him, mate?
Yeah, we'll see what they do. Like, we don't know where they're going to go with this whole thing, and is this the end of this whole Prometheus thing? Because I find it really hard to believe that that's it. Like, it's wrapped up that quickly that it's kind of like, oh, well, obviously Prometheus is just using him for this, and you know, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, well, that's obviously it. And
yeah,
all is said and done. So I do find it weird that it's kind of wrapped up so quickly. So maybe that'll come back. Who knows? But yeah, look, for now, for me, waste of Captain Lance. Not happy about it. He's got so much more potential.
He does. Let's move on. Top moment number 3. Artemis, you're a backstabbing motherfucking bitch.
Oh, man.
Now, I just want to say, like, okay, it seems like she's obviously working with Prometheus.
Well, you would assume.
But how does a fucking 17-year-old girl get this gig?
Well, you don't know yet because you don't know who Prometheus is. So how did he recruit her? Like, what's their connection?
Hanging out at school, giving out lollies.
Prometheus himself could be 17. You don't know.
I fucking highly doubt it.
Because you just don't know where any of these people are from. But that's fine. Like, let's see what happens. Like, you know, where like I didn't think they were going to go this way again. And I'm talking about deviations from comics and whatnot. But Artemis is a character in Young Justice, damn it. Now, understand that. Like, I think if I remember correctly, she was born of criminal parents, but she was taken under the wing of the Green Arrow fairly early.
Yeah.
I don't remember her ever turning bad, but like maybe I'm wrong.
Hey, I've just had a revelation.
Yeah.
When you say Young Justice, it made me think of Roy. What if Roy is Prometheus?
Yeah, I doubt it.
He is away, and he has been like rumored to be returning this season, like the actor.
Yeah, but I think
What if he's gone away and he's been brainwashed, Troy?
by who?
Well, we'll find out.
Konstantin Kovar.
Yes.
Like maybe. I don't know. Like I think it's a stretch, but like is it a case of where like he's still connected to the what's the Mirakuru that he had in his system? Like is he just gone bad? Like that would be a waste of this whole thing, because I'd be very pissed off if they kind of, you know, made it that sort of easy.
Well, the only reason I say that is because you said Young Justice, and like Arsenal in Young Justice like went through like 13 different friggin' rogue moments of like I'm good, I'm bad, I'm good, I'm bad type of thing. So
maybe, like we've said for the longest time, that it's probably going to be Tommy Merlin. That is looking less and less likely. One thing I wasn't aware of is this guy is a main actor in Chicago Med. So whether they just bring him back like into this show purely just to do this, maybe. But are they looking to kill off his character in Chicago Med? Like who knows? But it's looking less and less likely that it's him.
Well, I guess he could do both if he's like he gets killed in Arrow, which like always happens to the villain.
Yeah, maybe. Is it? Who knows? It could just be like a guest appearance.
Yeah,
it's like this dude is back as Tommy Merlin and he's Prometheus. Okay, I'll stick with it.
Okay,
I think it's.
I'm saying it's Roy now.
You're going to go Roy?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm
cool.
jumping boat.
All right, you go Roy. I'll go Tommy. What'd you rate it?
3.5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 4, which will be the highest rating of the week so far. But again, I think the show deserves it. It's a waste of Captain Lance, sure.
Yeah.
But I get into it now. I'm liking season 5, man.
This is it's like, I guess it's return to glory season.
Exactly.
And it's bloody good. Let's move on. Legends of Tomorrow, Outlaw Country, Western episode. Fuck, I hate this shit. Top moment number 1. Jonah Hex is back. And I can't believe your top note here says playing off one of the better episodes of the season.
Well, it is. And like if you think like the better episodes of the first season, like in my opinion, that was one of the better episodes. I know you have a thing against Westerns. Like, let me tell you something about Cade, ladies and gentlemen. This is a guy that won't watch Westworld, which is like one of the better shows on TV right now, and possibly in some time. Like, it's got some very, very, very good moments, very highly rated. Everybody loves it. Cade won't even give it a chance because it's a Western. So that's the type of guy I have to deal with on a weekly basis.
I hate that shit, man. That's why I won't watch that like Game of Thrones. I ain't into that medieval shit either.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that's far from a Western, but it said in Westeros. That's okay.
See?
Yeah, all right. Anyway, look, getting back to this. Look, I've never been a real big fan of Jonah Hex as a comic character or anything like that. I think this iteration or whatever is pretty good. I think the guy's name is Jonathan Shea or Shea. I don't actually know. But anyway, look, he seems to do a pretty good job with it. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that, like, this is where the show is probably at its best, when they kind of give these characters these big areas to kind of like to play around in, and it's not like bogged down into like whatever they're trying to like achieve on the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
They're just out there having fun. And I think it works better for this particular ensemble of characters. Even if the whole thing is just a ploy for them to basically find some Dwarf Star ally, which is basically
that's what this whole episode was about. So Ray can get his bloody suit. No surprise there. He needs that because the crossover's coming up, and he's been photographed photographs have been released with him in his new suit. So it needs to happen.
Yeah. Speaking of dudes getting a new suit, top moment number 2, Steel. Test the limits of his powers.
Yes.
Or Citizen Steel, or whatever his name
Yeah, I just want to say this guy is like we've been saying he's way too trusting of his powers.
Yeah.
And he like kind of got brought back down the ground, like to Earth here, because this guy's shooting dwarf star bullets, and like you can see these bullets are like hitting things and shit's just exploding.
Yep.
You might just like want to take a second and go, they're not normal.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not even going to like brush on the fact like how did this cowboy decide to fashion bullets out of this dwarf star alloy, and how did he even come up with the idea? I'm not even going to go there as much as I want to. We've been talking about this stuff for a while. But yeah, you're right. Like this is a guy, and then So he almost dies, which no one is ever going to die because they've got Gideon.
So I just want to know something. Like, yeah, no one will die because they have Gideon. But doesn't this guy still bleed out ridiculously quick?
Well, no, because I think they referenced the fact that whatever serum he was given from Ray that gave him his powers also cured his hemophilia.
Oh, fucking of course it did.
Of course it did. I am almost 100% sure that that's what they said. But this is someone that, obviously he goes out, he almost gets killed by Dwarf Star bullets, and then he decides, okay, so Dwarf Star can kill me, but however, let me jump in front of this train full of Dwarf Star alloy or whatever, and watch me stop it.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to give him credit. That was a fantastic use, and it showed how powerful he really is.
Yeah.
He's obviously the most powerful on the team.
Easily.
Now, I had visions of this Dwarf Star just shooting all the way through the train.
Yeah.
Because of the momentum.
Yeah.
And him just getting decapitated, done.
Well, I think it's I guess if you're going to give him a pass, it's probably because he's so new to the whole superhero thing. Obviously, very excited to get these powers, and obviously wanted to be a superhero since he was a kid and all that sort of stuff. So you could probably give him a pass in the sense that he's just super excited to go out there and see exactly what he can do. And let me tell you, what he can do is some pretty impressive stuff. I'd be interested to see what his suit looks like, even though we have seen a still of it. But I want to see what it looks like in the show. Be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The little fin in the face thing, it looks weird.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how
we will see. Now it's top moment number 3, and the crew are headed back to 2016.
Yeah.
Just in time for the crossover.
Oh, that worked out well.
Wow.
Lucky.
Hey, how did these people contact them?
I don't know. They haven't said.
Yeah.
I think Sarah just came in to where Ray and whatever the guy's name is, the Steel guy.
Yeah.
I do this every week. I forget someone's goddamn name, and I'm supposed to be some sort of professional or whatever.
Everyone knows you're not.
Everyone knows I'm not, and that's good. So it gives me a pass.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. She just comes in and she tells them that our friends in 2016 need our help. That's it. They haven't actually referenced as to how. They'll probably do that next week. Next week,
A time aberration.
yeah.
On that fucking silly machine.
Yeah, the Timequake
Yeah.
machine.
And, I'm not even going to really touch on Professor Stein.
I don't think we need to.
Okay, maybe he has a new wife and his body's trying to adjust to it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's, for me, nothing. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
Legion of Doom should be next week, which will probably play into the big crossover, which will be the week after, I think.
Hang on.
Am I right
No.
or am I wrong?
There's a couple of shows on break. Arrow's on break. And is it Flash?
Maybe.
I think it's Flash.
No, Flash just went on break. Flash can't go on break again.
Yeah. I know 2 of the shows are on break next week. It might be Legends.
Maybe Supergirl. Something like that. I'm pretty sure they're bringing in the Legion of Doom before they do the crossover. I could be wrong, but it doesn't really happen that often, so I'm probably right.
Yeah, probably. Hey, what do you rate it?
Hey, don't forget, though, to all those playing at home, Legends of Tomorrow does move to a new time slot.
Yes, that will happen the week after the crossover.
Yeah.
That's
Is it?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, there you go. So
Can't fucking wait.
that's going to be good. So it'll go into a Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do I rate it? I'm going to give it a 3.5, purely because they obviously have a lot of fun when they do these episodes, and you can see that, and it comes through, and it's pretty good. Yes, there's some glaring problems with the story and all that sort of stuff, but I can forgive it because they're having fun. Don't mind the guy playing Jonah Hex. What about you?
I give it 2. I hate this episode.
God.
It was Western. Jonah Hex talks like a fucking dickhead out the side of his mouth.
Well, I'm not even gonna go there.
Mate, that little bit of skin can stretch, eh? He can talk normally.
I actually don't think it can.
It actually can.
All right. So 2. All right. That's great.
And that means it's time for Comic of the Week, where I don't do anything. And I say to Troy, just do a movie, mate, because that'll be better. Because people want to listen to movies and eat more bread.
I think people listen to us talk about movies enough. Movies and TV shows. We've got to give them something different. That's why we give them Comic of the Week, damn it.
No.
And it's important, and it's integral, and comics are important and integral, and everybody loves them. It's time for Comic of the Week.
I just said that, mate.
I'm bringing it in, and I'm bringing it in better. This week's Comic of the Week is Thanos #1. I'm on the #1 train. again. Written by Jeff Lemire with art by Mike Diodato and Frank Martin. Thanos. While the mere name sends chills down the spine of any hero in the Marvel Universe, the Mad Titan had just tasted defeat during the recent events of Civil War II. Now, escaping his imprisonment, Thanos is out to take back what is his, and his first stop, the Black Quadrant, where former Lieutenant Corvus Glaive has taken the throne and control of the Black Order. Meanwhile, amongst the ruins of Titan, Death, former mistress to the genocidal tyrant, is plotting his demise and has enlisted a ragtag bunch of heroes, use the word lightly, to take the Titan down. Thane, the son of Thanos, his uncle Star Fox, and self-proclaimed champion of the universe Trico Slatterus certainly have their hands full. Death, however, has a secret. She knows that now is the time to strike, for Thanos, the man who once destroyed half a universe with the wave of his hand, is in fact... Come on now. You didn't think I was actually going to give you that one, did you? I know we're all about spoilers here at Comic Confidential, but that's one you're going to have to find out for yourself by going out and reading the comic, buying it from someone.
Whoever you want.
You can do that online or in a store. Thanos #1 serves as a very good start to the Mad Titans' first solo run in like forever, and Jeff Lemire does a great job bringing the Marvel Universe's embodiment of evil to life. The otherworldly setting suits Mike Diodato's style to a T, and the stark, eerie color palette chosen by Martin works incredibly well. While the first issue doesn't delve too far into exactly what Thanos has planned, the supporting characters and their seemingly impossible task are more than enough to draw you in for the ride. All hail Thanos, Overmaster, and Avatar of the Impossible Chin. I give this comic 4 crushed enemy skulls out of 5.
I wasn't even paying attention. I swear I fell asleep for a bit.
Yeah.
You really know how to hold
people's attention.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, look, I was never going to bring this up, but I know you did a poll on Twitter and you asked what the favorite segment is, and people voted for Comic of the Week, and it won.
Hey, man.
So whatever, man. Twitter has spoken.
You know
at
what?
least.
Like,
at least Twitter.
That was because it was like Gag Tuesday. And like it was opposite day.
Take the piss Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, that's going to do it for another episode. I'm just wrapping it up, man. Stay tuned next week. Next week? Stay tuned next week as we definitely review Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. I promise you that's coming.
It'll be in the case.
As excited
in the suitcase. That's where they came from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Solved.
You don't need to review it no more.
Yeah, 3 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
And, of course, we'll bring you all the top moments from our regular bunch of TV shows. Plentiful that they are.
Not next week.
Well, actually, yeah, maybe.
There's only a handful.
Well, cool. That's good.
That's good because we're talking about a movie, so...
No, it's never going to go on break. Gotham.
Fuck. You know, that's a show that would like run year round if it could.
If it could. Do you want to thank some people?
Yeah. Let's thank the listeners, the
Yeah.
subscribers. I can never say that. Subscribers.
And
the reviewers.
Yeah. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at Comic Confidential, Instagram and Twitter at Comic Con Pod. The link for the YouTube page is in the show notes, as is the link for, I think, everything else.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
We've also got a Snapchat. That's Comic Con Pod. You can jump on there. We sometimes put stuff on there.
We do. Very rarely.
Yeah. Got the website. That's comicconpod.com. Check that out. We've also got a Patreon, and we want to actually shout some people out.
Hey, let's do that.
Yeah.
Ian, Dan, you two, love yous. There you go. What do you got to say?
Well, I don't love you, but I really appreciate your input to the show, and you guys will be getting some cool shit sent your way soon.
You will.
Unfortunately, we have to wait till the end of the month. That's what the terms and conditions tell us.
T's and C's, baby. T's and C's.
And we also got a loot crate, so if you want to get yourself maybe a discount. Troy said he was going to read up on it. What a fucking dickhead liar.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've also got a sweet deal with Comic Blitz, where if you sign up with the promo code ComicConPod, you'll get a month of their unlimited plan for free. That's free.
That's so good.
It is good. It's actually good, and you can get a whole bunch of good titles from there. That's it, man.
Are we done?
I think that's it.
How long is this episode? Fuck! This is a big episod. I don't even know if anyone's made it this far. Like they got to Comic of the Week, and they're like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Troy!"
Whatever, because they know that all you're gonna do is try to talk about bread, and people are sick of you talking about goddamn bread, man. Look, hey everyone, thanks for listening. As always.
No. What are you wrapping up for, man?
Because that's it.
No, we're done.
Because we're done. I think 2 hours is enough. I think 2 hours is enough for everyone.
I'm pretty sure like we're just, like this is the cinema credits going up. And like there's only the dedicated few back here.
Yeah.
So like I want to throw like a hashtag I'm still here.
Hashtag I'm still here. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So if you are still with us and you're hearing this hashtag I'm still here, there is no mid-credit scene or end-credit scene to stick around for. So why are you still here? I have no idea.
I'm surprised they made it past that comic of the week still.
Oh, whatever, mate.
I'm surprised I'm still here.
Hey, yeah, I'm surprised you're still here. Can I wrap it up now?
Yeah, okay.
Hey, thanks for listening. As always, this has been Comic Confidential. I don't know. Where am I at? As always, I am Troy.
Okay.
And this has, in fact, been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace. You are never getting 2 energy drinks again, my friend. I swear to God, you are off the chain.
You don't control me.
I'm telling you, Mum.
No, fuck you.